After 3 years of sacrifice, my husband's father, the boss, gave the promotion to his niece, who'd only been there 8 weeks, and I handed in my resignation with a calm smile. "Congrats to Lila," I said. When my father-in-law read my letter, he lost it. "You can't be serious," he shouted, his face turning red. Yet I could still hear the moment it all began as Robert's voice boomed across the conference room while he raised his champagne glass. "I'm thrilled to announce our new regional director, my brilliant niece, Lila Bennett," and as applause erupted, I couldn't move. My hands frozen in my lap while everyone else clapped enthusiastically. 8 weeks. Lila had been here exactly 8 weeks, and she was getting the position I'd been promised for 3 years. So I forced a smile and clapped slowly, the sound hollow. Robert's eyes met mine briefly and flickered with guilt or defiance. Then he looked away, adding in that patronizing tone I'd grown to despise, "Emily has been such a wonderful mentor to Lila already. I know she'll continue to support our new director in any way she can." And support tasted bitter as I thought of 3 years of 60-hour weeks, of missing family dinners to close deals, of building this department from 12 employees to 47, only to be told I should support someone else stepping into my role. Before we continue, I want to thank you for joining me in sharing these stories that matter. If you believe loyalty should be valued over family politics in the workplace, please consider subscribing. It's free and helps us reach more women who need to hear this. Now, let's see how this unfolds. Lila stood up, blonde hair perfectly styled, designer suit crisp and expensive. She couldn't have been more than 28. Fresh out of business school with her MBA and daddy's connections. "Thank you so much, Uncle Robert. I'm really excited to learn from Emily's expertise as we transition into this new phase," she said. And the corporate speak made my stomach churn because this wasn't a transition. It was a takeover. After the meeting, I walked back to my office on unsteady legs. My nameplate still reading Emily Johnson, Senior Operations Manager, which felt like a lie now as people passed with sympathetic looks or avoided eye contact entirely. Maggie Reynolds from accounting patted my shoulder and whispered, "I'm so sorry, honey." And behind my closed door, I stared at the wall where 3 Employee of the Year certificates hung. One for each year I'd been here. Fat lot of good they'd done me. My phone buzzed. "Jason, my husband? How did the announcement go?" Finally official. After a long pause, I typed, "We'll talk tonight," then spent the day forcing normalcy, answering emails, reviewing reports, and attending meetings where pity and embarrassment kept sliding across people's faces until by 5 my jaw ached from the fake smile. Robert appeared in my doorway as I packed up. "Emily, could I have a word?" And I gestured to the chair where he'd sat 3 months ago, promising this promotion was just a formality. He settled in, silver hair catching the light. "I know today was difficult for you. Look, you're incredibly valuable to this company. Lila's going to need someone with your experience to help her get up to speed. I'm hoping you'll take on a senior advisory role. 2, train her to do my job," I said. "Help her succeed in her new position," he corrected. And when I asked, "3 months ago you told me this was mine. What changed?" He fidgeted with his wedding ring and said, "Business needs evolved. Lila brings fresh perspective, new ideas," to which I replied, 8 weeks of fresh perspective versus 3 years of proven results." And he sighed. "Emily, you're taking this too personally. This is my career. How else should I take it?" "You're family," he said, as if that explained everything. "Family looks out for each other. Lila needed this opportunity, and frankly, you're secure here. You don't need the promotion like she does." And there it was. The truth, that I was expected to sacrifice for the greater good, to be grateful for scraps. Dependable Emily who cleaned up everyone else's messes. So I stood, gathered my purse and jacket, and said I needed to get home. Jason was making dinner. He looked relieved. "Give my son my love, Emily. I really do appreciate your understanding." And my heels clicked across the marble as I thought, understanding is what you call it when someone rolls over after being stabbed in the back. The drive home crawled, giving me too much time to replay his casual dismissal of 3 years of my life. Family looks out for each other. Except not for me. So I parked in our driveway at sunset, lights glowing from the kitchen that used to feel like sanctuary. Sat in the car for 5 more minutes watching neighbors walk dogs and water gardens. Then went inside where Jason had set the table, and the smell of his famous lasagna filled the room, but I had no appetite. "Sit down. Tell me everything," he said, and I told him about the champagne toast, the dismissal of my 3 years, the expectation to train my replacement, and his jaw tightened. "Dad actually said you were secure here, so you didn't need the promotion?" "Word for word," he pushed back, hands in his dark hair. "I'm calling him right now." "No," I grabbed his wrist. "This isn't your fight, honey. It's mine." But the damage was done, and now Jason was furious at his own father, another casualty of Robert's decision. The next morning I walked in with a fake smile, ready to begin what Robert called my mentoring role, and at exactly 9 hours Lila bounced into my office, color-coded planner in hand, all enthusiasm. "Emily, I'm so excited to learn from you. Uncle Robert says you know this department better than anyone." I gestured to the chair. "Let's start with the Morgan account. They're our biggest client, and they've been with us since before you were born." And for 2 hours, I walked her through our client management system, the intricate relationships I'd built, preferences of each contact, the delicate balance to keep everyone happy. She scribbled notes and asked questions that revealed how little she understood. "So when Mr. Morgan calls upset about delivery delays, what do? Don't promise what you can't deliver. Listen, acknowledge, give a realistic timeline with a small buffer. What if he threatens to leave?" I paused. "Lila, Morgan Industries represents 30% of our annual revenue. If we lose them because of poor handling, 47 people lose their jobs, including you." And her pen stopped. By lunch, my patience was thin. Years of trial and error reduced to a download for someone who hadn't read a quarterly report, and the breaking point came during my supposed lunch break as I heated soup in the break room and heard voices through the notoriously thin wall to Robert's office. "The transition is going perfectly," he said. "Lila's picking everything up quickly." And Lila's younger voice asked, "Are you sure Emily's okay with all this?" As I moved closer to the wall, "Emily's been dependable, but we need someone with fresh ideas. Lila's our future," Robert said. "She's good at following instructions, maintaining the status quo. But that's not what we need anymore. The company needs innovation, energy. You bring that." And when Lila noted, "But she seems so knowledgeable. Some clients specifically ask for her," he chuckled. "That's exactly the problem. Emily's become a crutch for our clients. They're too comfortable with her. We need to shake things up. Get them used to someone who will challenge their thinking instead of just agreeing with everything they say." And as he reframed trust and reliability as weaknesses, Lila whispered, "What about her feelings? She worked really hard for this promotion." And Robert replied, "Emily's family. She'll understand we have to serve the greater good. Besides, she's not going anywhere. Where else would she go at her age? She's 42. Companies want young talent, fresh perspectives. We're doing her a favor by keeping her on." And when Lila said she felt bad because I'd been so nice about training, he added, "That's because you have a good heart. Business isn't about feelings. Emily will adapt. She always does. That's what makes her valuable. She's predictable, reliable. She'll do whatever we ask because she doesn't have any other choice." And those words, predictable, reliable, no other choice, sent a cold, calculating fury through me. That afternoon, I kept training Lila with professional calm. But inside, something shifted as every question she asked and every gap I filled became documentation of my own value. Not for Robert's benefit, but for my clarity. At home that evening, with a cup of tea going cold and Jason working late, I did what I'd been thinking about for 2 weeks. I typed, "Dear Robert, please accept this letter as my formal notice of resignation from my position as Senior Operations Manager at Westbrook Ventures. My last day of employment will be Friday, March 15th, providing the standard 2 weeks' notice. I want to thank you for the opportunities I've had here over the past 3 years. I've learned a great deal and am grateful for the experience. I wish the company continued success in the future. Sincerely, Emily Johnson. Short, professional, final." After printing, signing, and sealing it, I slept better than I had in weeks. The next morning, I dressed in my navy power suit with my grandmother's pearl earrings, arrived early, placed the envelope on my desk, and went about my routine until 10 when I carried it to Robert's office. "Good morning, Emily," said Donna Perez, his secretary of 15 years. "He's just finishing a call. No rush." "I'll wait." Then Robert waved me in mid-conversation about quarterly projections. When he hung up, he asked, "What can I do for you?" "I've got back-to-back meetings until 3, and I set the envelope down. What's this?" "Open it," I said. He tore it open, read, and his face shifted from curiosity to shock to something like panic, color draining then flushing as he shot to his feet. "You can't be serious. This is a joke, right? Some kind of negotiating tactic." I remained seated, hands folded. "I'm completely serious. Emily, we just promoted Lila 2 weeks ago. You can't abandon ship now. She needs your guidance, your expertise. The Morgan account alone. You'll be fine. Lila's very enthusiastic." "I'm sure she'll figure it out," I said. He paced, running his hands through his silver hair. "This is about the promotion, isn't it? Look, I know you're disappointed, but we can discuss other opportunities. Maybe a different title. Additional responsibilities. Robert—" "Stop," I said, calm but absolute, a tone I'd never used with him. "This isn't about the promotion anymore. It's about respect and the fact that I've realized I don't have any here." "That's not true. You're valued. You're family." I stood, smoothing my skirt. "No, I'm not. Family would have been honest about their plans. Family wouldn't have made me train my replacement without telling me. Family wouldn't have described me as predictable and reliable behind my back while saying I have no other options." His face went white. "You heard that conversation?" "Every word," I said, and after a heavy silence I added, "You were right about one thing. I have been predictable, spending 3 years making excuses for being overlooked and believing loyalty would eventually pay off, but I'm done being predictable. What do you want? More money? A corner office? Name it," he said, and I replied, "I want to work somewhere that values what I bring, that sees potential instead of limitations, that doesn't think 42 is too old to have fresh ideas." Then walked out. Donna looked up, concern on her face. "Everything okay, honey?" "Everything's going to be just fine, Donna. Take care," I said, feeling lighter than I had in months as I returned to my desk to wrap up projects, document processes, and transition responsibilities over the next 2 weeks. Unemployed for exactly 2 weeks, I was reorganizing my home office when an unfamiliar number rang. "Emily Johnson, this is Rebecca Collins from Summit Ridge Logistics. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time." I nearly dropped my coffee. Summit Ridge was one of the fastest-growing companies in the region, known for an innovative approach to logistics and promoting from within based on merit. Not at all. "How can I help?" "I'll cut straight to it. Your name came up in a conversation with Daniel Morgan yesterday. He spoke very highly of your work at Westbrook Ventures and suggested we reach out. We have an opening for a regional operations director, overseeing 3 departments and managing our largest client accounts. Daniel thinks you'd be perfect. Interested?" My heart raced because this was exactly what I should have gotten at Westbrook. "But bigger? I'd be very interested," I said. And within an hour, an email arrived with details that made my eyes widen. A salary 30% higher than what I'd been making. Stock options, and the title I'd been promised but never received. The interviews moved quickly. Rebecca introduced me to the team leads I'd manage, all genuinely excited about collaborating, and the culture was refreshingly direct. Clear expectations, transparent communication, no family politics. In my final interview, CEO Marcus Walker asked, "Why did you leave Westbrook Ventures?" "Daniel mentioned you'd been there for several years, and I decided to be honest. I reached a ceiling that had nothing to do with my performance or potential. Sometimes you realize loyalty without respect is just servitude." Marcus nodded. "We don't believe in ceilings here, Emily. We believe in earned advancement and mutual respect. Does that sound like something you could work with?" "It sounds like everything I've been looking for," I said. And 3 days later, Rebecca called with an offer that exceeded even my best-case scenario. My first day at Summit Ridge felt like stepping into a different universe. Bright, modern spaces, tech that actually worked, and more importantly, I felt welcomed as a valued team member rather than tolerated as a necessary burden. My direct report, Sarah Mitchell, who'd been running operations temporarily, greeted me with a comprehensive briefing and genuine enthusiasm. "I've been looking forward to this," she said, while we reviewed quarterly projections. "We've been struggling with the Parker Group account, and we could really use your expertise." That word, expertise, not dependability, landed deeply. Within my first week, I led strategy meetings and made decisions with immediate impact. And when I suggested restructuring client communication protocols based on lessons learned at Westbrook, Marcus not only listened but asked me to present the proposal to the board. "You've been doing this for 3 years?" he asked after my presentation. "And your previous employer never promoted you to director level?" "Apparently I was too predictable for leadership," I said, and he laughed at the absurdity. "Their loss is our gain. Predictability in results is exactly what we want in leadership." The Parker Group meeting was my first major test. They'd been threatening to leave for months, frustrated with communication breakdowns and missed deadlines, so I spent 2 days preparing, drawing on every relationship skill I'd developed. After a 3-hour meeting, not only did we retain their business, but they agreed to expand their contract by 40%. "How did you do that?" Sarah asked. "I listened to what they actually needed instead of what I thought they should want, then showed exactly how we'd deliver it," I said. Word spread quickly. Other department heads asked for my input. Marcus included me in executive strategy sessions, and after one productive meeting he said, "I'm starting to think we undervalued this position when we created it. Would you be interested in discussing expanded responsibilities?" And unlike Westbrook, here that felt like genuine opportunity. By the end of my first month, I was managing operations and heading a new client retention initiative. Our team grew from 12 to 18, and our performance metrics were the highest in 2 years. For the first time, I understood what it meant to work at a company that truly valued merit over politics. My ideas weren't just heard, they were implemented, and my experience wasn't just acknowledged, it was leveraged for growth. 3 months in, industry gossip reached me at a networking event where Kara Jensen from Seaside Financial said, "Good for you on moving to Summit Ridge. Things have been interesting since you left. Our new contact at Westbrook isn't quite as responsive as you were. 3 weeks to return a call. That never happened when you handled our account." And her words stuck. 2 weeks later, Daniel Morgan called me directly. "Emily, I hope you don't mind. We're probably ending our relationship with Westbrook at the end of this quarter," he said, and my stomach dropped because Morgan Industries was their largest client. "I'm sorry to hear that. May I ask what happened?" Daniel sighed. "Remember our monthly strategy calls where you'd walk me through the quarterly projections and we'd adjust based on market changes?" "Of course. Well, your replacement, Lila, she missed our last 2 scheduled calls. When she finally called back, she couldn't answer basic questions and kept saying she'd get back to me, but the follow-ups never came. The final straw was last week. We had a delivery crisis, a $2 million shipment sitting in the wrong warehouse. You used to drop everything, coordinate logistics, and keep us updated every hour. Lila told us to file a complaint through the proper channels and she'd look into it when she had time," he said. I felt a complicated mix of satisfaction and sadness for the company I'd once cared about. "I'm sorry it came to that," I said. "That's the thing. I don't think Robert valued our partnership. When I called him directly, he basically said Lila represents the new direction, and if we couldn't adapt, maybe we weren't the right fit," Daniel added, then closed with, "By the way, that recommendation I gave Summit Ridge about hiring you, best business advice I've given in years." And after we hung up, I realized losing Morgan would force Westbrook to lay off at least 15 people, real colleagues with mortgages and kids. Soon after, my assistant said Rebecca Collins wanted to see me. "The Morgan account was a nice win for us," Rebecca said, "but apparently they're not the only Westbrook client looking around. 3 companies reached out this week asking about our services, all specifically mentioned your name. How do you want to handle this? These could be significant opportunities, but let's approach it ethically, and I appreciated that. If we're responding to genuine inquiries rather than poaching, we're on solid ground. They have legitimate service concerns we can address, I said. My thoughts exactly. Would you lead the presentations? Absolutely, I replied. Over the next month, Summit Ridge signed 4 new clients, all former Westbrook accounts, and in every pitch I found myself defending the Westbrook team even as I presented our plan. They're going through a transition, but at Summit Ridge we can offer the consistency and reliability you're looking for. The hardest moment came when Maggie Reynolds called me at home. Emily, I hope you don't mind. I got your number from Jason. There are rumors about layoffs. Morgan is gone and 3 other major clients have left. People are saying it's because you left, that you took all the relationships. Maggie, that's not, I began. I'm not blaming you, she said. We all saw how they treated you, but some of us have been there for years. We have mortgages, kids in college. The weight of unintended consequences settled on me. Are you looking for other opportunities? I asked. At my age, who's going to hire a 58-year-old accountant? I thought about our expansion and said, can I give Rebecca Collins your contact info? We'll need experienced financial support as we take on these new accounts. Her relief was audible. You do that. You're good at what you do. Should matter more than politics or age, she said. I realized this wasn't about Westbrook's decline anymore. It was about people finding places where they were valued. And Arthur's lesson, Robert's lesson, was becoming clear across the industry. When you prioritize connections over competence, you don't just lose good employees, you lose the foundation that keeps a business stable. 6 months after Maggie joined Summit Ridge, an embossed invitation arrived. Robert Caldwell requests the pleasure of your company at the Westbrook Ventures Annual Awards Dinner at the Grand Ballroom at the Hyatt Regency Chicago. And Jason read over my shoulder. You're not seriously considering going? Actually, I think I am, I said. Why put yourself through that? Because I'm not the same person who left. I want to see who I've become. And Rebecca insisted on coming. Moral support, though I knew she was curious about the company that let me go. The cocktail hour was awkward as expected. Former colleagues with careful smiles and cautious chatter. Some genuinely happy for me, others uncomfortable, as if my success reflected poorly on their decision to stay. Tom Bradley from accounting cornered me near the bar. Emily, we all miss you. Things haven't been the same. And when I asked how everyone was adjusting, he said, well, Maggie landing at Summit Ridge was great. Honestly, it's inspired some of us to start looking. Sometimes you don't realize you're settling until you see someone refuse to. And then the lights dimmed as Robert took the stage looking older, thinner, diminished somehow. Welcome to what has been a challenging but educational year for Westbrook Ventures, he began. We've learned valuable lessons about adaptation, about the importance of strong leadership, and about recognizing talent wherever it may be found, his eyes finding mine. Awards proceeded, but the finale surprised me. Our final award tonight is new, Robert announced. The excellence in leadership recognition goes to someone who may no longer be with our company, but whose impact continues to shape how we do business. Emily Johnson, would you please come to the stage? Applause erupted and Rebecca nudged me. Go on. This is your moment. So I walked to the stage and met Robert halfway as he extended a crystal award that caught the ballroom lights. Emily, your dedication to excellence and your commitment to our clients set a standard that continues to inspire our team. While we're sorry to see you've moved on, we want to acknowledge the foundation you built here, he said, and I took the microphone to face the people I'd worked with for 3 years. Some smiled, some looked uncomfortable, and Lila at the family table looked mortified. Thank you, I began, steady despite my racing heart. Working at Westbrook Ventures taught me valuable lessons about business, about relationships, and most importantly, about knowing your own worth. I've learned that loyalty is important, but it should never be one-sided. That hard work matters, but only when it's recognized and valued. and that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself and for your career is walk away from situations that no longer serve your growth. And after scattered applause, I continued, I'm grateful for my time here because it led me to where I am now, at a company that values merit over politics, where ideas are heard regardless of who suggests them, and where potential isn't limited by artificial ceilings, then handed the mic back to a now strained Robert and added, Thank you again for this recognition, and to my former colleagues. Remember that you have more power than you think. Use it wisely. And as I returned to my table, silence gave way to Maggie's clapping, then Tom's, then enough others to make the message clear. After dinner, Robert approached. Emily, could I have a word? Rebecca excused herself and he said, That was quite a speech. It was honest, I replied. I suppose I deserved that. We're restructuring the leadership team. If you ever wanted to come back. Robert, stop, I said, standing. 6 months ago, I might have been interested in proving something to you. Tonight, I realized I don't need to prove anything to anyone except myself. The company is struggling without you, he tried. The company is struggling because you made decisions based on family loyalty instead of business sense. That's not my problem to solve anymore, I said, lifting my purse and the surprisingly heavy crystal award. I hope things work out for Westbrook Ventures. I really do, but my chapter there is closed, and walking out of that ballroom felt like completion. The scared, overlooked woman who'd wanted Robert's approval was gone, replaced by someone who knew her value and insisted it be recognized. In the parking garage, Rebecca linked her arm through mine. So, how does it feel to have the last word? Like freedom, I said. And later, when I walked through my front door, Jason waited with tea. How was it? Perfect, I said, and meant it. That night, I placed the Crystal Award on my bookshelf next to a photo from my first day at Summit Ridge Logistics. 2 symbols of the same journey. One for where I'd been, the other for where I was going. And the woman in that photo was confident, valued, unafraid to take up space in the world. Everything I'd always had the potential to be, just waiting for the right moment to emerge. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply becoming the person you were always meant to be. If this story of workplace triumph had you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button right now. My favorite part was when Emily gave that powerful speech at the awards dinner, showing Robert exactly what he lost. What was your favorite moment? Drop it in the comments below, and don't miss more empowering stories like this. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.